Okay, so we've done some work on actually setting up our page. They look absolutely pants at the moment because you can't really see anything looking good on the page. But what we need to do is we need to add style. Now for layout, we use cascading style sheets, or CSS for short. And really what that helps us to do is it helps us to add style in one central location to all of our pages. And that's the reason why we've got all these ID tags and these kind of things that you're starting to see, or classes if you like, that you're starting to see that me type into the page with you. I just wanted to talk to you though about style in general. You can add style to the head of your document using the style tags, very similar to what it would look like in a CSS file. So here I'm adding the colour red to the paragraph style. This isn't great because it will only work on the text within this document. You can add inline style, which is literally just for the information within the tags that you've added it to inside the body. That's even worse because again it will only affect that particular area. And I'll just let me get them up for you. If we can just go into, what did I just do? I just made styles HTML. There you go. So as you can see, that is my inline style, where I've added the style into the actual body of the document just for the tag. This is the style that is put into the header, which works on anything that's in a paragraph tag because I've said make it the colour red. But if I open another document in the same web site, so basically all the files in this folder, they won't have those styles implemented. So let's have a look at index.html, for example. That won't be there. Do you see? So the paragraph text is not red, and the inline style that I've put elsewhere just isn't there. Okay? So essentially what I'm saying is it's better to add a style sheet to your websites, and we actually did that even though we haven't made the style sheet yet. When we go into that very first document that when I spoke to you about some of the main tags, which was, I called it home, I actually showed you how to do that. So this is where we're linking that style sheet to the page. And the main style sheet for the website is going to be called Style CSS. So we're just taking that, and for now I just want to play about a little bit. So inside the header, so the browser can see it straight away, it knows where it's going. It's going to the style sheet, which I've put into a CSS folder inside the website directory. I haven't made it yet though. Okay, so in there we're going to have a CSS file. There it is, style CSS. There's nothing in there at the moment, but all of the elements that we defined in our document as we were going along, just to make that, is going to be actually written up in here. So let's get on with that. Okay, so for all of our pages then, we want to link our style sheet. And just because it's just about the layout, we're going to call it layout CSS in this case, and it's messing about with our layout of our text, etc. So this is the type. So I'm just going to copy that into all of my pages really, and it's all about not having to retype over and over again program code. So I'd add index, add all copies. It's got to go into the head of the document. So we're putting it into the head of the document there. This is before we even made it. Got coffee details, and into the head of that document we're linking that layout style sheet. You can have a number of style sheets in your website, a number, and they all have different purposes. Essentially though, they are looking at the layout of a specific element of that site. So as you can see in this particular header, I've linked 2 style sheets. You can do that. Okay, let me just break it down. So there is a syntax for CSS. You got your selector, and then you have your opening curly brace. Then you have the property that you wish to add into your style, and then the value. So an example here, the paragraph tag, I've put my opening brace, and then I've got my properties and the property value. So I want the text color to be blue, and I will close my use the semicolon at the end of each property and property value, and then I will close it. So this is the syntax for the CSS, and essentially there are several style indications that we can use, and they each have to have a selector, property, and a value. Okay, there are some ways to save a bit of time, really, using shorthand versions of these declarations. Just remember, at the end of each declaration there's a semicolon. So I've just got a paragraph tag here, and I decided, right, well, I want the margins at the top to be 10 pixels wide, and at the bottom to be 10 pixels wide on my page. You can actually shorten that using this sort of shorthand version. Margins generally 10, 5, 15 and 20. So this is top, left, right, bottom. It actually helps you to explain things without having to type out lines and lines of code. And obviously, if you've got one tag that has plenty of properties, you can put them all together like this. As I said, after each declaration, as long as you have your semicolon, all of this will work. So this is different syntax for your CSS file, which we're going to do later. Okay, so there's different ways that you can actually apply the CSS. You can use just the class name, or you can use the tag name, which is obviously like the P tag or whatever it is, a header tag, and you can apply the CSS to it. I'll just make it so that it looks like the others there. You can use the class name, and we've done a lot of that, class naming, but you have to have a period before the class name, and then you can apply your styles to that. Remembering, after each declaration you have your semicolon. You can use your elements ID, and that's prefixed with a hashtag, and then once again you can add your declaration to that. You can combine the selectors. This is almost like adding an and, really, to your CSS. So for this one here, we're saying we want to find all elements with a coffee type tag applied to them that are within a paragraph, and then we can add a style to that. So obviously we've got a logical AND operator applied, so all paragraph elements and coffee type that have a coffee type tag should have this style applied. That's kind of what we're saying here. Okay.